Let me ask you something. You wake up tired, you can't focus during the day, you keep catching every cold and flu that goes around, your sleep is off, stress has been building for months, and everything you grab from the pharmacy either works for a few days or doesn't work at all. What if I told you that people figured this out a long time ago? Not in a laboratory, not in a hospital. They walked into the forest. They looked at the bark of ancient trees. They knelt down to the ground. And they found mushrooms. The 15 mushrooms I'm going to show you today were drunk by Chinese emperors as daily medicine, consumed by Japanese monks every morning for centuries, considered sacred by Siberian shamans who passed the knowledge down through generations. And now, modern science is proving exactly why those people were right. One of these mushrooms can grow new brain cells. Nothing else you can eat does that. One of them was researched by NASA because they used it to protect astronauts' immune systems in space, and one of them has been tested in clinical trials alongside cancer treatment protocols in Japan, with results that surprised researchers. All of them are mushrooms. All of them are natural. All of them have been within reach for thousands of years. Most people have no idea they exist. And here is the strangest part. Some of the active ingredients inside pharmaceutical drugs sold in pharmacies today originally came from these mushrooms, processed, patented, and packaged, with the original source quietly forgotten. Today, we go back to the source. Let's get into it. Here are 15 medicinal mushrooms ranked from remarkable to absolutely extraordinary. Mushroom 1. Reishi, the immortality mushroom. For thousands of years in China, one mushroom carried a single name, the immortality mushroom. That mushroom was reishi, Ganoderma lucidum. But why immortality? Why not just healing or healthy or useful? Why did an entire civilization look at this mushroom and reach for the most powerful word they had? Because people who consumed it regularly aged differently from those who didn't. They got sick less, they lived longer, their minds stayed sharper. The exhaustion that comes with old age hit them later and softer than it hit everyone else. There was no science to explain it then, but there was observation, and observation was enough. Now there is science, and the science says this. Reishi contains compounds that directly stimulate the immune system. They keep your body on alert, ready for viruses, bacteria, and abnormal cells. At the same time, it lowers cortisol. Cortisol is your stress hormone, and chronic stress is one of the most consistent drivers of early aging and disease in the modern world. Trouble sleeping? Reishi improves sleep quality. Living under constant stress? Reishi brings cortisol down. Getting sick all the time? Reishi strengthens your immune response. One mushroom, 3 separate problems at the same time. How do you use it? Dried powder brewed as tea or as capsules. The taste is bitter, but in Chinese medicine, bitter medicine is effective medicine. The immortality mushroom earned its name because the people who used it genuinely lived longer and better. Mushroom 2. Lion's mane, the mushroom that regrows your brain. If you remember only one mushroom from this entire list, make it this one, lion's mane. Named for its appearance, white, flowing, cascading, and soft tendrils like the mane of a lion. And this mushroom does something that nothing else you can eat does. It can grow new brain cells. This is called NGF, nerve growth factor, a protein your brain uses to repair itself, build new connections, and stay sharp. Under normal conditions, your NGF production declines as you age. Your brain's ability to repair itself decreases, and we call that getting older. Lion's mane stimulates NGF production. Think about what that means. Against a brain that gets a little slower every year, nature produced its own repair tool. A 2009 Japanese clinical study gave lion's mane to older adults experiencing mild cognitive decline for 16 weeks. The result? Significant improvement in memory and focus tests. When they stopped taking it, the decline returned. That matters because it means the effect is real and measurable. But lion's mane isn't only for older people. Students, people with demanding careers, writers, anyone who wants mental clarity and sharper thinking. How do you use it? Add the powder to your morning coffee or take it as capsules. The taste is mildly sweet, almost like seafood, one of the easiest mushrooms to eat. Try it for your brain and see the difference for yourself in a few weeks. Mushroom 3. Chaga, the black diamond of the forest. There's an old saying in Siberia, "Those who drink chaga don't get sick." Where did that saying come from? Because the people living in Siberia's harshest conditions, -40 degrees, scarce food, heavy physical labor, were shockingly healthy. And when researchers asked why, they kept hearing the same answer: the black mushroom growing on birch trees, chaga. Chaga doesn't look like a mushroom. It looks like a chunk of burnt wood growing out of tree bark, dark, rough, almost ugly on the outside. But the inside is a deep golden orange, and that interior is one of the most powerful antioxidant sources found anywhere in nature. What does antioxidant mean in simple terms? Rust. Your cells accumulate damage over time, slow, invisible damage that eventually becomes disease. Antioxidants clean that rust. Chaga does it better than almost anything. But chaga's real power is its effect on the immune system. It contains beta-glucans, compounds that wake up immune cells and put your body on active defense. Getting sick every winter? Try chaga tea. How to prepare it. Simmer chaga pieces in hot water for 15 to 20 minutes. The color turns deep amber. The taste is earthy, slightly vanilla-like. In Siberia, it has been drunk daily like ordinary tea for centuries. The black diamond of the forest, ugly on the outside, extraordinary on the inside. Just like the best medicine usually is. Mushroom 4. Cordyceps, the energy mushroom. High in the mountains of Tibet, herders noticed something. Their livestock that grazed on a particular type of fungus came back from the pasture more energetic, stronger, more enduring. The herders tried it themselves. They felt the same thing. That fungus was cordyceps. Cordyceps is a strange mushroom. In the wild, it grows at high altitude on insects, but now it is cultivated and available worldwide. So what does it actually do? It increases your cell's capacity to produce energy. It helps your body use oxygen more efficiently. It gives athletes a legal performance boost, which is exactly why in 1993, when Chinese women athletes broke world records at the World Athletics Championships, cordyceps became the name on everyone's lips. But cordyceps is not only for athletes. Do you wake up exhausted every morning? Do you hit a wall in the afternoon? Do you struggle to find the energy to exercise? Cordyceps works right at the center of those problems. More energy for your cells, more oxygen, less fatigue. The Tibetan herders discovered it by accident. Modern science explained why it works, and the answer turned out to be exactly what those herders observed in their livestock centuries ago. Mushroom 5. Turkey tail, the immune system's most powerful weapon. This mushroom has a memorable name, turkey tail, because its colorful, fan-shaped layers genuinely look like the spread tail of a turkey. But what's inside this mushroom is far more interesting than what it looks like. Turkey tail, Trametes versicolor, contains two compounds called PSK and PSP. These compounds have been used in Japan for decades as supportive treatment alongside cancer therapy. They are given to chemotherapy patients as immune support, and the results have been consistently promising. But limiting turkey tail to cancer research alone would be a mistake, because this mushroom is first and foremost a master of immune function. It feeds your gut microbiome. And why does that matter? Because 70% of your immune system lives in your gut. Healthy gut means strong immunity. It is that simple. How do you use it? Tea is the most common form. If you find it in the forest, simmer it in hot water. It has a mild, pleasant taste. And know this, turkey tail is one of the most studied mushrooms in the world. Hundreds of clinical studies, and the consistent finding across all of them is the same. For the immune system, this mushroom outperforms any vitamin supplement on the market. Mushroom 6. Shiitake, the healer on your dinner table. You probably know shiitake, the mushroom at the market, the one you sauté, put on pizza, add to stir-fry. But if you see it only as an ingredient, you are missing most of the story. Shiitake, Lentinula edodes, has been used in Chinese and Japanese medicine for 6,000 years, not just eaten, used as treatment. It contains a compound called eridanin. This compound lowers cholesterol, protects the liver, supports heart health. Modern research has confirmed this repeatedly. Shiitake is also a powerful antiviral. Its lentinin compound activates immune cells. This is why, in Japan, eating shiitake soup during flu season has become a tradition passed down through generations. And here's the beautiful part. You don't need capsules to use shiitake as medicine. Regular eating is enough. Put it on your table 2 or 3 times a week. Sauté it. Make soup. Add it to eggs. The taste is wonderful, and every time you eat it, you are giving something to your heart, your liver, your immune system. The most accessible healing mushroom there is. You already knew it. You just didn't know why it mattered. Mushroom 7. Maitake, the silent guardian of blood sugar. Maitake means dancing mushroom in Japanese. Why dancing? Because in the old days, people who found maitake in the forest would dance with joy. That is how valuable it was. Maitake, Grifola frondosa, stands out for its effects on blood sugar. Its beta-glucans increase insulin sensitivity. In plain terms, they help your body process sugar more efficiently. Why does this matter right now? Because diabetes and insulin resistance have reached epidemic levels. 1 in 4 people is at risk, and most of them have no idea. But maitake is not only for blood sugar, it is powerful for immunity, protective for the liver, and some research points toward benefits for weight management as well. How do you use it? Fresh, the texture is meaty, almost like chicken, and the taste is excellent. Dried powder goes well in tea, or take it as capsules. The Japanese villagers who found maitake in the forest danced. After a few weeks of using it, you will understand why. Mushroom 8. Agarikon, the lost lung protector. This is the least known mushroom on the list, but possibly one of the most important. Agarikon, Fomitopsis officinalis, has been documented since ancient Greece. Dioscorides wrote about it in the 1st century BC. He called it the antidote for lung disease, 2,000 years ago. When modern researchers examined agarikon, they were surprised. It has strong antiviral properties, particularly against respiratory viruses. Studies have found compounds effective against influenza and tuberculosis in laboratory testing. But agarikon is now very rare. It only grows in old-growth forests that have never been logged, in the ancient forests of the Pacific Northwest and parts of Europe. Finding one is considered exceptional luck. The disappearance of this mushroom is a genuine loss because we haven't fully discovered yet what it carries. But here is what we know. A mushroom written about for lung disease 2,000 years ago is now receiving clinical interest for respiratory viruses. Sometimes the oldest knowledge is the most accurate. Mushroom 9. Oyster mushroom, the secret healer in your kitchen. Oyster mushroom is everywhere, at the market, at the farmer's stand, growing wild on fallen logs and forests. Some people even find it growing out of their compost, and most people see it as just a cheap mushroom. That is a significant mistake. Pleurotus austriatus, oyster mushroom, naturally contains lovastatin. What is lovastatin? The active compound used in cholesterol-lowering medications. But here, it exists in its natural form, as nature produced it. It also contains ergothioneine, a rare antioxidant that accumulates in the body over time and specifically protects neurons. Brain health, long-term. Struggling with cholesterol? Want to protect your heart? Or just looking for something affordable and genuinely nourishing? Oyster mushroom is your answer. And cooking it could not be simpler. 5 minutes in butter with garlic. A pinch of salt, a pinch of pepper. Done. Delicious and healing at the same time. The simplest combination. Mushroom 10. Porcini, the royal mushroom of the forest. In Italy, they call porcini the king of mushrooms, and that title does not come only from gourmet chefs. It comes from villagers who have used this mushroom for centuries, both as food and as medicine. Boletus edulis, porcini, carries a strong antioxidant profile. Its compounds support the digestive system, reduce inflammation, and strengthen immunity. But porcini's standout quality is what it does for the gut. It contains prebiotic fiber that feeds beneficial gut bacteria, and a healthy gut is the foundation of everything else. How do you use it? Fresh or dried? Dried porcini has an even more intense aroma than fresh, added to risotto, pasta, soup, or simply cook it in olive oil. Italians have used it for both kitchen and health for centuries, and in Italy's blue zones, the places where people live longest, porcini has always been on the table. Not a coincidence. Mushroom 11. Chanterelle, the mushroom that captured sunlight. Anyone who finds chanterelle in the forest stops walking, because this mushroom glows golden yellow from the forest floor, like a small sun rising from the soil. And that color is not by accident. Chanterelle, Cantharellus cibarius, is exceptionally rich in beta-carotene. Beta-carotene converts to vitamin A in the body, and vitamin A is critical for eye health, skin health, and immune function. It is also rich in vitamin D, the biggest deficiency in people who don't spend time outdoors, and vitamin D deficiency connects to weakened immunity, depression, bone loss, and chronic fatigue. Chanterelle gives you this naturally. The taste is also something special. Mildly fruity, slightly nutty. Cooked in butter, it is extraordinary. For your eyes, for your skin, for your immunity, and as a golden beauty waiting for you in the forest. Mushroom 12. Tremella, nature's hyaluronic acid for your skin. In China, 700 years ago, there was an empress, Yang Guifei, recorded in history as the most beautiful woman of her time. When people asked about the secret to her appearance, she always gave the same answer: tremella, the white jelly mushroom. Sounds too simple? Keep reading. Tremella fusiformis, the snow mushroom, contains compounds that closely resemble hyaluronic acid. What is hyaluronic acid? The active ingredient in expensive skin creams, filler injections, and anti-aging serums, the substance that keeps skin moist, plump, and firm. Tremella contains it naturally, and research shows that tremella's version has smaller molecules than synthetic hyaluronic acid, meaning it penetrates the skin more effectively. But tremella works from the inside, not just the outside. Taken orally, it increases skin moisture, reduces the appearance of fine lines, and supports the immune system at the same time. 700 years ago, a Chinese empress made the right choice. The modern cosmetic industry now sells you the synthetic version at a premium price. The original is still growing in the forest. Mushroom 13. Enoki, the small fighter against disease. Enoki might be the most charming-looking mushroom on this list, Long, thin stems, tiny caps, almost toy-like. But this small-looking mushroom is attracting serious scientific attention. Flammulina velutipes, enoki, contains compounds called flammulin and others. These activate immune cells, and some research shows protective effects against abnormal cell growth. In Japan, regions where enoki cultivation is concentrated have shown lower rates of certain cancers compared to other areas. Correlation or causation? Research is ongoing, but the direction is interesting. Enoki is also beneficial for gut health. It feeds the microbiome, and a healthy microbiome is the foundation of immune function. How do you use it? Add it raw to salads. Drop it into hot soup at the last moment. It only needs seconds of heat. The taste is mild, almost neutral. Small, but powerful. The best things often arrive that way. Mushroom 14, Black Trumpet, the forest's most mysterious healer. Black trumpet, Craterellus cornucopioides, is hard to find. Its dark color makes it nearly invisible among fallen leaves. You have to really look to see it. But when you find it, what do you find? A mushroom extraordinarily rich in vitamin B12. Why does B12 matter? Because B12 deficiency causes fatigue, nerve damage, and memory problems, and plant-based foods contain almost none of it, making it one of the biggest nutritional challenges for people who avoid animal products. Black trumpet offers a natural solution to that problem. It also has strong antioxidant properties, contains compounds that support cardiovascular health, and the taste, deeply rich, smoky, earthy, one of the most prized ingredients among serious chefs. Hard to find in the forest, but absolutely worth it. For your table, for your health, for your B12. Mushroom 15. Artist's conch, the pharmacy on the tree. And here is our final mushroom, the most visually striking one on this list. Artist's conch, Ganoderma aplanatum, a shelf mushroom growing from tree trunks in a semicircle, brown on top, creamy white underneath. Why artist? Because when you draw on the white underside with your finger, it leaves a dark mark. For centuries, people who found it in the forest drew pictures on it. It was used as a canvas. But what it carries inside has nothing to do with art. Ganoderma aplanatum is a close relative of reishi, same family. Similar compounds, immune-stimulating, anti-inflammatory, liver protective. Research has shown it demonstrates the ability to support liver tissue repair. Laboratory studies have tested compounds that slow abnormal cell growth. It has antiviral properties. How is it used? Dried and powdered, brewed as tea, or prepared as a tincture, an alcohol extract that concentrates its active compounds. A pharmacy quietly growing on trees. It has been there for thousands of years. It never announced itself because nobody asked. Now, we are asking. We covered 15 mushrooms today. But what we really talked about wasn't mushrooms. What we talked about was this. Nature produced everything humans need a long time ago, without laboratories, without patents, without advertising. Reishi gave sleep and calm. Lion's mane repaired brains. Chaga built immunity. Cordyceps filled bodies with energy. Turkey tail raised the body's defenses. Shiitake protected hearts. Maitake balanced blood sugar. Tremella fed skin from the inside. Enoki mobilized cells against disease. Nobody invented any of these. They already existed. They were just forgotten. Think about this for a moment. This morning, you probably took something, a vitamin, a supplement, a pill, and to produce that thing, a large factory ran. Chemical processes were completed, it was sealed in a plastic bottle, placed on a shelf, and you paid for it. The forest never sent a bill. The reishi growing on a tree trunk waited there like a pharmacist who charges nothing. The chaga growing on birch bark grew quietly without ever running an advertisement. Lion's mane hung there swaying, ready to repair brain cells, waiting for someone to pay attention. And we ran to the pharmacy. This is not a criticism. This is a reminder. Our ancestors couldn't go to hospitals. There were no pharmacies. When they woke one morning and felt their immunity dropping, or when exhaustion settled deep into their bones, the people with no other options did something. They looked at the forest. They bent down to the soil. They observed. They tried. They recorded. And they passed it down through generations. An old physician in China taught his student. That student grew up and taught their own student. 2,000 years passed that way, and now modern laboratories are saying the same thing. These mushrooms work. You don't have to go to the forest to find them anymore, though you can. They are now available as powders, capsules, and teas in health stores. Some of them, like lion's mane and oyster mushroom, can even be grown at home, easier than you might think. What matters is this. This knowledge is now yours, and with knowledge comes choice. When you walk through a forest now, you will look differently. At the bark of trees, at the soil, at the space beneath fallen leaves. Something is growing there. Not just growing for you. And now you know.